Let's meet one of the strangest romantic couples in American literature. Miss Emily Grierson, the last daughter of an old Southern aristocratic family, practically a ghost surviving among the ruins of a vanished world. And Homer Barron, a loud, cheerful Yankee road foreman who arrives with mules, machinery, and modernity itself. Their love story ends with a locked bedroom, a dead man in a bridal bed, and a single strand of iron grey hair on the pillow beside him. So the real questions are, why does this ending make sense? And why does Faulkner tell this story backwards, beginning with Emily's funeral and ending with Homer's death? To answer that, we need three ideas. 1. Emily as a symbol of the Old South too, the town as a collective, unreliable narrator. 3. Faulkner's modernist, Gothic storytelling, the town as narrator, a collective voice. The voice of the narrator unmistakably behaves like a communal consciousness, the people of Jefferson speaking as one. This narrator is nosy, judgmental, occasionally sympathetic, and profoundly unreliable. They watch Emily like she is a public spectacle. They reconstruct her life through fragments, smells, whispers, glimpses through windows, old gossip revived and reinterpreted. Faulkner forces the reader to experience Emily the same way the town does, in pieces, out of order, filtered through speculation rather than fact. This is modernism at work, truth as something fractured. And, importantly, this collective narrator is not innocent. Their gaze has weight, pressure, even cruelty. They pity Emily, resent her, admire her, condemn her, always from a safe collective distance. Emily is never allowed to be simply herself. She is always the town's projection, a symbol onto which they cast their fears, nostalgia, and judgments. Emily as the Old South, the fallen monument. From the very first page, Emily is treated like an object from a museum. The men attend her funeral out of respect for a fallen monument. The women show up to inspect the inside of her house. We're told, alive Miss Emily had been a tradition, a duty, and a care, a sort of hereditary obligation upon the town. Emily represents plantation aristocracy, lineage, honour, racial hierarchy, a household sustained by a black servant, an old social order built on tradition. She is both admired and resented. When she turns 30 and remains unmarried, the town feels vindicated. They want her to be both superior and punished for it. Her house, Gothic extension of herself. Emily's house is her architectural double. Once white, now decayed, a literal image of fading racial purity. Once elegant, now an eyesore among garages and cotton gins. The narrator calls it lifting its stubborn and coquettish decay. That phrase is perfect. Stubborn, refusing change. Coquettish, still demanding attention. Inside, time has stopped. Dust everywhere, sealed rooms, and the father's portrait dominating her world. The house is not just decaying, it is already a tomb waiting to be opened. Emily versus Time, the tax scene. Colonel Sartoris once excused Emily from taxes out of paternalistic chivalry, inventing a fake story to preserve Grierson dignity. Years later, younger officials try to make her pay. Emily's response? I have no taxes in Jefferson. See Colonel Sartoris. Colonel Sartoris has been dead for 10 years. Emily refuses the present, refuses bureaucracy, refuses time itself. She's still living in a world where aristocrats are protected, where authority comes from dead men, where nothing changes. Even her watch is hidden under her belt, its ticking literally buried. Her life is one long refusal to acknowledge change, patriarchy and trauma, the first dead body. Emily's emotional world begins with a tableau. Emily in white, in the background, her father dominating the foreground, holding a horsewhip, blocking the door. No suitor was ever good enough. This is patriarchal protection, twisted into imprisonment. After he dies, she keeps the body for 3 days. The town excuses her behaviour, but Faulkner signals trauma. Her father structured her entire identity so absolutely that losing him feels like losing herself. Her attachment to the dead begins here. The town's cruel affection. The town shifts constantly between pity and condemnation. Poor Emily. She holds herself too high. She should be corrected. And, honestly, maybe it's better if she kills herself. They gossip about her relationship with Homer Barron. They pressure the minister to visit her. They write to her Alabama relatives. They inspect her every move from behind their curtains. Their fascination isolates her further. Yet, Emily remains outwardly proud, partly from her own character, and partly because the town insists on seeing her as the last Grierson, the remnant of a fallen order. Enter Homer Barron, Modernity in a yellow buggy. Then Modernity arrives in person. Homer Barron, a Yankee road foreman, loud, charming, confident, a man of machines and movement. Historically accurate, Northern crews did go south to build infrastructure after the Civil War. Symbolically, he represents mobility, progress, the future, industrial modernity. Emily is lineage and stasis. Homer is motion and change. When she rides publicly with him on Sundays, the town is scandalized. At 30, she suddenly looks like a girl, as if she's finally tasting freedom. But that freedom is heavily policed by everyone around her. Poison and control. Emily chooses death over abandonment. Rumors spread. Homer is not a marrying man. Some suggest he prefers men. Others say he simply dislikes domesticity. Emily buys arsenic. I want the best you have. Everyone assumes she'll kill herself. Instead, she kills Homer, not out of malice, but from fear. Her father abandoned her in death. Homer, she believes, will leave her too. If love cannot stay, she will force it to stay. Psychologically, her logic is twisted but coherent. She cannot endure abandonment. She has no model of healthy attachment. She is utterly isolated. Their relationship is also symbolic. Emily is the Old South. Homer is Northern modernity, two systems that cannot coexist. One must destroy the other. After the murder, Emily as a living ghost. After Homer disappears, Emily seals the house. She becomes a living monument to the past, fat, slow, pale, iron-grey hair, like the hair of an active man, echoing her father, china painting lessons to the fading aristocracy, refusing mailboxes, refusing numbers, refusing modernity, sitting in windows like the carved torso of an idol in a niche. Part woman, part artifact, a museum exhibit. The narrator calls her dear, inescapable, impervious, tranquil, and perverse. A perfect description of both Emily and the Old South, the ending, breaking the door, breaking the illusion. Emily dies. Tobe, the servant who knows everything, silently leaves forever. The townspeople wait until she is decently in the ground. Then they break open the dusty room upstairs, a bridal chamber frozen in time. Homer Barron fused to the bed, a fleshless grin on his skull, his suit folded neatly, waiting for a ceremony that never came. Then the real shock. In the second pillow was the indentation of a head. We saw a long strand of iron-grey hair. Emily has been lying beside him for decades. It is horrifying, but it is also the key to the whole story. She didn't just keep a corpse, she preserved a world that should have died long before, a world she cannot release because it once defined her. Faulkner wrote this story knowing the Old South was already gone. Emily's decay feels less like madness than history finally overtaking her. So, was Emily crazy? And what about the South? Calling Emily mad misses Faulkner's deeper argument. Emily stands in for a South so committed to its own mythology that it preferred stasis to survival. It clung to lineage, ritual, and memory until those very things became suffocating. It rejected modernity not out of strength, but fear. Emily's final gesture, the decades spent sleeping beside Homer's corpse, crystallizes a culture immobilized by its own unrelinquished past. Faulkner wrote the story decades after the fall of the Old South. He knew the ending. The tragedy is not surprising. It is inevitable. Her death unlocks more than a room. It unlocks the truth. Only when the relic is gone can the community finally confront what it has been living with all along. Emily's story is not madness. It is history, refusing to move forward until the past is finally laid to rest.